Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Sorry I am late. We had to do something quickly with the children, so I was a bit delayed, but I am here and we are carrying on in Mythographic Magical Earth. Now, I'm hoping to get a bit more done on this page, obviously, but I mean, if we could get it completely finished, that would be amazing. I'm not sure yet how much we're actually going to get done, but we're going to give it a good try. So I'm just looking for my palette quickly. Okay, I've got my palette. Alright, so what I need to do is a bit more work on the tree leaves and a few more leaves, and then I've got to work on the girl and the house. Now, I'm stuck on what to do here because I could do a bluey grey house, so I'm not 100% sure. I really feel like we need to work on this central part here and try and bring it to a bit of a close. So I'm going to pull out my swatch chart. Now I use the big book of color charts by Ruby Charms Colors. Alright, so let's have a look and see what can we arrange for this. So this is the 28 new colors, and then I've got the 72 underneath. So alright, we could do a reddish sort of stair banister here. We could do a gold banister, red stairs, red sort of wood here. Maybe that's what we could do. It's red and gold, and then the tiles could be like a deep indigo blue. So if you look here at the deep indigo, it's got a bit of a bluey grey, and then over here in the Paynes Grey, we've also got that. So if we mix a bit of these blues into the Paynes Grey, we could get a nice sort of, sorry, my brain is freezing, like a rustic blue or a muted blue. So that could work quite nicely. And then if we go for maybe a madder brown and a red oxide kind of thing, maybe a Shiraz over here, that could work for the banister rails. Now I'm completely stuck on what to do for her hair. I think the wooden door could possibly be like a dark, like a sepia ink. We could layer that up. Alright, so shall we give it a try? Hello Leslie, hi Cindy, it's great to have you. Thank you. I think it's coming out really well as well. I'm very, very pleased and encouraged. Leslie, I so understand being jealous of the new colors. They were a small investment, but I'm so glad that I have them. I'm absolutely loving using them, and I actually really need to get into Circle of Life and do more with them. So I'm thinking flamingo page. I really, really want to do flamingos. Don't actually understand why. I seem to be a bit obsessed with flamingos lately. And they're not actually my favorite animal, believe it or not. It's so funny. Alright, so let's have a look. We need a Shiraz. Alright, so just bear with me as I get my pencils out. Shiraz, we need a red oxide and a madder brown. So I'm not yet sure if we're going to use all of these, but I'll pull them out and we can have a go. Then I need the deep indigo. Which I have taken out and I'm using somewhere else. Can you believe it? Oh, nope, I can't find it. All right, I will use an iron blue instead. It's just very similar in color. So then I want a Paynes Grey. And if we use the new gold, because it says gold, so why not? And we could blend that in with maybe some saddle brown. So we're going to use a bit of the browns today. And then I might use the bark. Oh, actually, let's use the burnt umber. Let's use some of the newer colors, just because we can. Hi, Emily. How are you? It's great to have you join. Okay, so let's see how this goes. I have tissues around here somewhere and paintbrushes. So I'm going to use a really, really fine paintbrush because this is fine details. So let's hope that this goes all right. Okay, so let's see. Let's do the roof because I really have got an idea on the roof. So Paynes Grey and then the iron blue, and I'll zoom you in so you can see how it's going. All right, I got a glass of water and my tissue paper, and I'm probably going to first layer it with the iron blue. So I'll most likely use a number 3 pencil, not pencil, paintbrush. Okay, so let me zoom you in. Hi B, how are you? Okay. So I'm going to do this lightly first because it's better to go light and build it up. Now I'm not going to worry too much if I have an uneven paint, because some of the tiles will be lighter in some places and other places it will be darker, and that's going to help me to create sort of like a varied texture on the roof. You know what, we could actually do her clothes this blue as well. So I'm going to layer her clothes with it, because if I have blue on the roof, I need to bring it somewhere else. And we could actually bring it in here. I can always change my mind. So I could do the curtains blue. So if, yeah. All right, I'm going to change my mind. It's okay. Sometimes when people paint, they will do a wash, like a blue wash underneath, something like that, and it will create a undertone. And you can easily cover it up. It just has a different undertone, so we can fix it. Right. Okay, so let's see. Maybe we do gold stairs and a red banister. So I want the Shiraz, and then I want the madder brown and the red oxide. Now the red oxide is my lightest shade, so I'll just start with that. Okay, so let's just come along here. Oh, lovely, Emily. I didn't realize there was a prehistoric miniatures. Did you enjoy the book and the page you colored? I realized today that I have in my collection Momo Girls, I think it's music or girls with poetry, or one of those, and I realized that it's a anime style, so I was quite chuffed about that. It will help me with the coloring checklist challenge. Okay, yeah. I'm not feeling very sure of myself with this house. Alright, so burnt umber and I'll just do some saddle brown. It's going to take my head a while to just calm down. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're finding it an enjoyable book. Okay, so let me put all of this where I need it. I'm going to bring in that gold. So this is the new, one of the new colors from the Derwent. And we're going to do the stairs like a goldish color. I'm hoping if I put everything down, it will help me to sort of visualize everything. And then we can go over it with the white highlighter a little bit later on. Now I don't want to do a gold here, but I could do red actually. So we bring in that red oxide. It's all really about balancing the colors. I'm going to come here. Oh, that's a bit too long. Let's take some off, dab it onto some paper. Now, red on blue will create a purple, which just means that this section here is just going to have a slightly darker color to it. So this is still red oxide, and I actually think I'm going to do this underneath here. And then some of the bark on the door. Somehow it's all going to come together. I think maybe that section I could do gold. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. So I have a 0, which is the smallest I actually have. So now I'm going to pick up the saddle brown. So I don't know if it's going to end up actually looking gold, but it will have that inspired thing going on. So I watched the King Charles III's coronation on Saturday out of curiosity. I was like, oh, it's a historical event, I'll just stick it on. So I put it on YouTube and just streamed it. And one of my youngest actually came and sat with me because he was very intrigued. So yeah, that was interesting. I'm not really someone who follows the royals a lot, but I do quite enjoy some of these sort of historical events because I like history and that sort of thing. So yeah, that was fun. But then I found out that there were a whole lot of other things like proms and events and all of that, and I thought, oh, I couldn't be bothered, so we didn't do that. But we ended up taking the boys to a little bit of a firework display in one of the nearby villages. And they had themed it to music, so they did a really, really good job. I was really impressed. Oh, sorry, let me move this up a bit because I'm coming out of the frame. Alright, so some of the gold. We can do this gold. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to come in with a bit of that umber. Now again, remember, I'm going to build up the layers, so I don't need to start super dark now. I'm even stuck on her hair. I have no idea what color hair to give her. And there's no ways I'm going to be able to do like individual strands with a paintbrush. I just don't have the skill. Alright, so if I bring this inside here really dark. So this I think might be a madder brown. It's not the Shiraz. The Shiraz is quite a wineish red. If I bring the madder brown in here now, oh, hold on. So I was watching on Instagram and I came across this artist, and she was doing some work in Christine Caron's Wildflower book. So she had done a short reel or whatever you want to call it on Instagram, and she took this artist film and she laid it over the figure that she was coloring, and then took a craft knife and cut around the illustration so that all that was left was the background. And then she took distress ink and she applied the distress ink in the background, sprayed it with some water or put some water drops on with her paintbrush. And when it was done, she peeled this film off the illustration, and she had this perfect background that did not come in and leak onto her illustration at all. And I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I've gone and bookmarked on my wish list this artist's film because I thought it's a great way to do watercolor backgrounds or even distress ink without really worrying about getting it onto the illustrations and kind of then having to fix everything. Hello Chantal, welcome. It's great to have you. How is Quebec, Canada? So yeah, I did think it was very, very interesting what she did with that film. Although I think it probably will take a little bit of patience to use a craft knife and gently go around the picture. I think you'd have to be very careful you don't press too hard and then cut through your page. But still, I think it's a cool idea, and I'm curious enough to actually give it a try. But I just need to wait a few months and just save up, because I've gone and spent all my my hobby savings or hobby money on new coloring books and the Derwent Inktense, which I'm really, really happy about. So I just gonna have to wait a couple of months, but that's okay. I don't mind. You know what I love about coloring and just life in general, there's always time. There's always things to learn, so we never really run out of time. Oh, Cindy, I don't know where else you would see it, to be honest. I mean, maybe you'll just have to wait with me until I get it, and then I'll try it. And you can watch. I can maybe do it on a live. Maybe next month. Because, yeah, it would be really interesting. And then that way you guys can watch and you can see what you think. I've got a couple of distress inks, so could always use that. I'll just pick a simple picture. Okay, so I'm going to swap paintbrushes now. Go back to my number 3 paintbrush, and I'm going to come into this Paynes Grey and so this is the Paynes Grey, and I'm going to try and vary some of these roof tiles now. All right, now I'm going to... No, it wasn't called masking fluid. It had a specific name. Hang on. If I open my Amazon on my laptop, I can find it for you because I did save it. Just give me a sec. It was called Frisket film. So Frisket 254 by 3.66 meters. So it's in a roll. You can get it in sheets, but I thought that the roll would be more than enough, and it sounded like better value. Low tack masking film. So that's what it's called. Frisket. Okay, I'm going to come back to my madder brown. And my number 0 paintbrush. Yeah, I saw this thing and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so fascinating. Because I like using distress inks or even, well, watercolor especially. But I often make mistakes and I, bleed through onto the illustration and whatnot. So to have something that would keep it nice and clean, I'd like to give that a try. I'd probably test it first in my Magical Dawn book because I've decided that book I will use for experimenting. Oh yay, I found it. I'm glad you found it. I found it. I read it as I said it. Oh, sorry. I'm glad you found it. Oh, awesome, Leslie. Did you ever try it? Oh, okay, cool. At one stage, I thought she was using, you know, that film you can buy to cover books and protect them, especially for kids going to school. At one stage, I thought she was using that, and then I thought to myself, no, but she can't be using that clear adhesive because it would stick, and then you could end up damaging the page. So I looked in the comments and realized a few people were asking, and she mentioned the name. Okay, I'm coming into that burnt umber, and I'm going to layer this up a bit here. Now I have no idea that if this is actually going to turn out looking like gold, but it will have a sort of gold inspired look to it. So I'm still catching up on everyone's favorite videos, the completed works for April. I love watching those videos. They're so relaxing and so inspiring just to see what everyone has gotten up to. Okay, I'm going to come back over that now with a bit of that gold. And just try and brighten this up. The other thing I saw this weekend on Color My World, she was showing a technique called glazing. So it's where you layer your colored pencils over each other without changing the color. She used it for coloring fire, and I tried it a couple of times and found when doing gold it actually worked quite well, because the idea with the glazing is to not change the colors, but you sort of like creating an undertone, so the undertone shines through the next layers and you keep it kind of shining through, and it just builds up that color. Okay, so I need some saddle brown along here. Okay, I'm going to come back in with my Paynes Grey. So I've been colouring in crowns as part of the whole King's coronation thing. Started a mermaid. I'm waiting for one more book, and then as soon as that arrives I can publish my May haul video. So the boys had their end of the year awards for rugby. So we went to that on the weekend. Got one more to go to next weekend. And then we're going away at the end of the month, which I'm really looking forward to. I think we need the break. And we're going away with some friends, so that will be really good for us. So yeah, May's busy because we're wrapping up the school year, getting things done. So yeah, it's getting a little bit hectic, but in a good way. Alright, so this is the iron blue. Which is very, very dark. So we'll have to layer it up now. Right, I think this is coming along all right. So I'm alternating between the iron blue and the Paynes Grey. And then just wiping some of the excess off on a piece of tissue paper. So I don't need to color the whole tile a dark color. I can just bring it down a little bit. And by doing this, I can create a little bit of like a glistening roof. So I made the mistake today of looking at amazing artists on Pinterest and Instagram and looking at it and then saying to my husband, that's it, I can't color, I can't do this, I'm not good, and all that sort of stuff that happens when you fall prey to comparison. So he very lovingly gave me the husband look of stop your nonsense. But yeah, I mean, I just thought I'd share it because I think it's something that a lot of us we fall prey to. We get caught up in comparing ourselves with other people, and if you're in that boat, I just wanted to let you know you're not alone. I just went down that road today, and yeah, it's that comparison voice is not really the voice of truth. So I tried very hard to quickly get over myself and carry on, move on, and just appreciate really, really incredible art, and accept the fact that I'm on a journey and I'll get to wherever I need to go when I get there, depending on my priorities and my time and all of that, and my resources, and also just celebrating other people's incredible talent. I mean, this one person I saw did a whole Beauty and the Beast painting and created like Beauty and the Beast in a mirror. Well, the Beast looking in his mirror. I was just like, it's exquisite. The amount of talent that some people have is just incredible. Definitely worth celebrating. I feel like this iron blue is just too rich. So now I keep having to fix it. Alright, I think I might leave that for now and see how it goes. Because it's not too bad. I think if I use just a lighter wash of that glue, it's fine. But when I put too much on, it really just is a bit too bright. But I like some of these tiles being a little bit brighter than the others. Right, I don't think that's too bad actually. I'm going to come back to the bannister and the red walls, and I'm going to bring in some of this Shiraz, which is quite a pinky red or a wine red. And just bring it in here. Then some water just to try and blend it out. It's actually a really nice color. I think I just need to learn how to use it. I hear you, Leslie. I found in the beginning I was like that. I didn't compare myself too much with coloring, and in a way that really helped, because I could just, coloring became a place where I could just accept myself. But I think as I push myself and try and aspire to different levels, and push my skill set, I fall back into that comparison trap. I suppose we all have that from time to time. I like this rustic red actually, really works. So the other thing I'm learning is, if I want to blend what I've put down out, I can always just use a little bit of water. And as long as it's still wet, it will work. If it dries, then you can't move the Inktense around. Oh wow, that's amazing. There was I just watched an art guy, I don't know if it's the same guy. He ADC Art Attack, and he is incredible artist. he uses alcohol markers. That's his preferred medium, and he makes like all these beautiful paintings with superheroes and certain, he's got his specific genre, which tends to be the superhero kind of comic set. And I remember watching one of his videos, and he was talking about how art, you grow in your art set. It's not always like you're born with that level of skill. It comes by working at it, and anyone can learn colors and learn how to paint and become an artist. I really appreciated what he said, because I'd heard so often that you were born with it. It was a gift. It was something you were born with, and you still required the work. But if you were born with it, with the gift, it was easier for you to kind of do art. And if you were born with the gift, then it made sense that you could be you know, an artist as a profession. So when I heard what he said, it really helped me so much to just accept and hear that I didn't have to necessarily be a born artist. I could become an artist. I just needed to put the time and the effort. Oh, I don't know Scott Mayer. I'll go have a look at him, at his channel, and have a listen. I haven't watched ADC Art Attack in a while, actually. I think he might have moved on to a different channel or social media platform. I think he does gaming as well. So I think this house is looking okay, actually. Somebody just sent hearts. I saw hearts flying on my laptop screen. Alright, so some of that saddle brown up here. Just build this one up. It's because I did a blue undertone, you can see how it's darkened this up a bit. But I think it will be okay. I think it will just, you know, it makes it a bit more mute. It's not too bad. This is the Shiraz. No, don't worry, Cindy. It was actually really cool. I just saw these hearts, and then I couldn't figure out where they came from. It was really cool. And then if I bring in some of the saddle brown. if I have this in yellow tinge but slightly darker than the background, it should still work. I might actually make this a burnt umber. If I bring some of the burnt umber down here, hopefully it will deepen this edge, and then just set it apart from the rest of the building. We can always take a white pencil and just lighten that up. I still can't believe I'm actually painting this entire page. I don't think I've ever worked so much with a paintbrush. And because it's so small, I find it's taking up quite a lot of concentration. Okay, so I want some of this iron blue, and I'm going to allow it to be quite a bit darker. So I can do these curtains. I hope you guys can see all right. I'm worried if I zoom too much, my hand will get in the way, and then all you'll see is my hand. I'm not sure I'm going to get to the wood texture on the wooden parts here, because that is... No, I'm not taking it directly off the tip of the pencil. I'm using the palette, and then I'm using a 0 paintbrush and just going really careful. But you can do that. The problem I've got right now with taking it directly off the pencil is I risk putting too much on, and then the balance of the lights and the darks goes off. So I'd rather paint it slowly than go from the tip, which will just give me a lot more ink. Okay, so I need a bit more red oxide, because what I need to do is come in and smoothen out the bannister. Now I will most likely use the white pencil and take the white pencil ink off with my paintbrush, or dip the tip into the water and use the pencil direct. I must say, I think that scratching the paints, the Inktense onto the board and then picking it up with water and a paintbrush has definitely carries much better results than applying the pencil directly to the paper. Yeah, I just feel like it is slower, but it gives you much more control over the build-up of the layers and where everything goes. So I definitely do like it. Alright, so I'm going to come back with my saddle brown. I think the key is just letting it dry consistently between layers. I think that really does help. And if the paper allows you, you could use a wet on wet technique. So I've been spending a lot of time, well, where I can, watching watercolor artists and seeing how they handle Inktense pencils. What do they do? What are the techniques? So I've really tried to practice the techniques I've seen them advising and using. And yeah, they do use the pencils, the Inktense pencils, directly onto paper as well. So it's not like don't ever. That's not the case at all. It's, I think, just knowing and understanding the medium really and the effect you're going for. I think because this is such fine details, and because I'm trying to make my own color gold here, it makes sense to my brain to kind of try and layer the colors up in a painting style instead of in a pencil style. But I think if I could go back and redo the trees, I would probably color the trees with pencils directly and then activate with water. I think that would have given me a quicker result, whereas at the moment I'm having to go back and forth, which I'm not convinced is really ideal. So I would redo that. I know as far as backgrounds though, to create a very smooth background without any lines, putting the pigment onto the palette board and then putting like a wet on wet technique really works much better for the background. So those are just some of the sort of things I've been thinking about, and in hindsight I would do differently. And then I think there are times where you do need to use the pencils directly on, and that's just when you need to blend out or deepen details. So like on these stairs I might actually have to take the burnt umber pencil and apply the pigment on. So now I let that dry, and I'm coming back to the stairs here, and I think it is almost done. So we've done quite a bit. I'm not really sure what color to do this wood, but I need to come in here and do that. So I think let's use some of the saddle brown along here. I might actually change that and do that, the burnt umber. And then go back to my iron blue. And then I'm going to do a bit more gold, but I'm going to do the gold inside the windows, so it looks like there's light switched on. Now I won't really need this to be very vibrant. I just need a touch of yellow. Alright, so burnt umber here. I'm just going to get a slightly bigger brush for this door. I'm not going to follow the woodwork, I'm just going to create a shade now. So I want it kind of lightening up here, but very dark along where her hair is. Alright, so here, this is where, when it's dry, I'm going to come in with a pencil and I'll just deepen it up, because I want to create an almost black effect coming down. Alright, so some more of that burnt umber. And then some of the gold, just to create and soften this up. Okay, let's see, still a little damp. I was going to give her, so I'm going to give her the Paynes Grey, but very light clothing. And then I can give her like the iron blue shorts, so she's got blue on. Then go back to my Paynes Grey. Actually switch back to my number 0 paintbrush, because this is fine details here. And just gently pull this down. So where you want it slightly darker, you use a bit more of the more saturated paints. And then where you want it lighter, you just use a bit more of a diluted paint. So just use it with a bit more water. Right, I still don't know what color hair to give her. Oh my goodness. Alright, so some sienna saddle brown, or what color is it? Yeah, saddle brown. And I'm just building up this color. Might actually give her a saddle brown here, I don't know. And then some of that burnt umber. And then a bit more of the gold along here. Alright, so now I need that burnt umber. I'm going to dip the pencil in the water and then just tap it on my paper towel or my tissue paper, because I want this to be quite dark. So now I don't really mind if this is going to be a bit more pencil on. I'm going to take my number 3 brush, get some water, dab the water onto my tissue paper, and I'm going to activate this. There we go. So that's kind of how I envision the door. Okay, so what's left is that, which I might just use the sienna brown, not the sienna brown, the saddle brown. So this is a number 1. And then I'm going to use my burnt umber. Just spread it out like this. I really need to try and make it distinct from the tree so it doesn't blend into the tree. So I'll come back with my 0 paintbrush and see if I can do a bit more of a like a grainy effect. And then I'll go and get more of that saddle brown. dear. Ah! Oh no, 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 no. Great. So take some gold. See if I can fix this now. Oh dear. Yeah, well, it happens, doesn't it? Accidents happen. It's more about how we deal with it. I don't think there's much more I'll be able to do. Oh well. Might as well take this a bit over here. There. Just even it out a bit. Alright, I think we're almost done with this. I just don't know what to do for her hair. So I'll leave her hair for now. I can find some colors for these leaves. So maybe we do a leaf green and the spring green. Leaf green and a spring green. And we can do these leaves and kind of try and finish this page. Okay, so if I put some leaf green, so spring green is my lightest color, and then I'll do leaf green, and I can use the Paynes Grey to deepen up the shadows. So I'm going to use a number 1 pencil, not pencil, paintbrush. Yes, that's a good idea. I could try tan for her hair. Thank you, Leslie. I will get it out and we can have a look. Okay, let's see. All right, let's use a number 1. And Would you do highlights on her hair, or would you just do like one color? So that's what she looks like with the tan. You could maybe use some saddle brown. Let it dry first. Okay, so back to the spring green. Yeah, I could deepen it with saddle brown actually. I'm not saddle brown with the tan, I could just use the tan. Oh, I'm taking you out of the screen. Let me bring this out a bit. There we go. You can see a bit more of the page now while I quickly do these leaves. Okay, so let's go into her hair. I'm going to use a number 0 paintbrush. Then I'm going to take a bit of a diluted tan. Let's try and make that out a little. Alright, we'll let that dry. So now I'm going to come to the leaf green. am so going to make sure that this counts towards my checklist challenge. The challenge that has to do with using watercolor. Like, this so has to count. So if I pick up a bit of the Paynes Grey, I can use it to darken some of these shadows. Then rinse it off and come back in with some of the leaf green. And then the spring green. You can kind of blend it out like that. So this is the leaf green. So like everything, there are parts of this page where I feel I've done really well in, and there are other bits where I want to focus on working. But it's not like in a, oh, I did really badly, I hate it. It's not at all that way. It's more just noticing the parts that I liked and the parts that I feel I need to grow in. So I think there's probably going to be one last video. So there's two options. I could finish it off camera and just work on the leaves, or I can do one last live stream on this page and finish it up. So those are my two options. The pros of finishing it on a live stream is you can see how I do the finishing touches, which may be of interest, as opposed to me doing it off camera. Okay, so now I'm going to go for my spring green. And I'm just going to try and blend this out. Cool, Cindy. I will then finish it on Monday in the live stream, and hopefully that will wrap it up, and then I could show you how I would finish it up. So I've gone out the lines on a few places which I'm not a fan of, but there's not much I can do. That's just because my paintbrush control is not always very good. So the Paynes Grey is a really good color to use to do fine detailing, and also just to push back the color. So if you take Paynes Grey into your shadowy areas and then quickly blend it out with the felt green and then blend that out with spring green, you can get quite a nice rich color. But you need to just clean your brush between each color so you get it blends more on the paper than in your paintbrush. So I'm using spring green here, a bit more of the felt green. Then some Paynes Grey. Oh, sorry, you're out. Oh, lovely, Leslie. Oh, I wish I could be there with you. It's nothing like being out camping. Love camping. Well, caravanning, I should say. I'm more of a caravan girl than a tent girl. I don't know the Grisaille pencils. Are they a budget set? Do you like them? Okay, so now I've got my spring green. I'm going to actually use my spring green on quite a few now. Yes, that would beat a tent. It's all you really need though, isn't it? Because if you have good weather, then you can sit outside around a campfire, on the chairs, and just enjoy nature. Wow, that's not bad. $50 for 72. I'll see if I can find them, because I don't have the light fast and they're quite expensive. So I'm reluctant to spend money on sets of pencils only to find out that I don't like them. I dropped my paintbrush. Problem is, if I don't use my pigment quick enough, they dry. Oh wow, that's cool. It's good to know they are like light fast, because that is a very good option to have then. And I'm glad to hear that you're liking them. Have you tried the Artex? Because I've heard the Artex is quite close to Prismacolor, and I really like the Prismacolor, so it'd be nice to find budget sets similar to Prismas. That way I can use it on different paper and then save my Prismas for, I suppose, the more better quality paper. Oh well, that's really good to know. Do you feel the colors of the Artex are as good as and as diverse as the Prismas? Oh, okay, that's really, really good. It's very good to know. Because if we can come right with alternatives to Prismas, I think, you know, a lot more people can use that caliber of pencil, and we don't have to worry as much about breakages. So it is useful. Excuse me. Right, I think I have got almost all these leaves. So I've just got this one here and then one right up at the top here. And then we can call it a night and come back to this on Monday. And I will give some thought as to my next color along. I might put up a few options on the channel as a community post and hopefully get it right with the pictures this time, so you can vote. Put the pictures in the poll. need to do a bit more work on this piece of wood here. And then finish this off with spring green. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this wood up. I want a bit more of that burnt umber. And then I want some saddle brown. And then I'll finish it with a little bit of tan. So the dark umber. And then some of the saddle brown. And then a light dusting of the tan. All right, so I'm going to zoom this out a bit more. That's the page. So I could, yeah, like I said, I could leave it like this and it could pretty much be done. But I think this here, and just these treetops need a little bit more work. But other than that, the picture is pretty much done. So I will finish it off with you on Monday, next week Monday. And yeah, then we can look forward to another color along. So I really thoroughly have been enjoying this. It's been such a good challenge. Thank you everyone for joining me. I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate you just chatting to me. And I hope that you have a really good week. Tomorrow I'm off with the boys. We're going on a steam train ride, so that's going to be a lot of fun and a few workshops. But yeah, Everyone, have a great time, and I will see you next week. Take care, and bye for now.